Greetings children. This is for class 12 CBC students. Evans tries an OLevel, written by Colin Dixon. Let us check the 2-hour exam activities inside the solitary cell of Evans. What happened at the exam cell during these 2 hours? That is what we are going to learn from this video lesson. OLevel German exam 2-hour activities in this cell. The 2-hour examination in OLevel. OLevel means ordinary level or basic level. That is OLevel. German was scheduled to begin at 9:15 am on Tuesday 8th June. However, it started a bit late at 9:20 am. Evans objected to the presence of Stephens, a prison officer, in the examination room, as it disturbed his concentration. When the examination began, the prison officer Stephens stood inside the examination hall, solitary cell of Evans, and he complained to the Invigilator that his presence that really disturbed him. He couldn't concentrate on his examination. Then the governor, because the governor can hear all the exchanges that happen within the cell, because the cell was already bugged, an instrument with which he could hear everything that happening here in the room. So under the orders of the governor, Stephens was got out of the cell. Got out is the past tense of get out. So the governor ordered the other prison officer, that is Jackson, to get out Stephen from inside the cell. At 9:40 am, the governor received a phone call from the exam wing. This phone call that the governor received was not really from the examination wing. It was made by Evans's men. They wanted to know at what time the examination started. The caller confirmed the starting time of the exam and said to the governor that a correction slip had been forgotten to keep in the exam materials. To confirm the phone call from the examination wing, the caller told the governor that one correction slip was forgotten to keep in the examination materials. So the call was redirected to the Jackson at D wing, who had done the needful to get the correction slip to McLeary. Immediately the governor redirected the call to D wing, where Jackson was in charge. He had done the necessary things to take down that correction slip. To confirm this call, the governor called back to the examination wing. But when he called back, he got only a engaged tone. So later he left that attempt to confirm this call's source. Then 2 minutes later, the governor heard a correction slip was dictated to the candidate. After 2 minutes of this phone call, the exchange that happened within the cell heard by the governor, the invigilator dictated the correction to the examinee Evans. Little later, a second call was received by the governor, and this was the real call. This time, a demand for a prison van and a couple of prison officers that he got with the second call. Meanwhile, Stephens had dutifully peered through the peephole at intervals of 1 minute or so. Even though Stephens was got out of the cell, he completely devoted to his duty. He observed the smooth conduct of the examination through the peephole. In the first hours, he looked within the gap of 1 minute, and later it changed to 2 minutes. At 10:45 am, Stephen saw everything going smoothly but observed McLeary sitting angled, a little bit tilted. That awkwardness he noticed at 10:45 a.m. The Invigilator, he was sitting angled. And every time Evans was seen sitting looking straight at the door and a pen between his lips, waiting for some kind of inspiration. Whenever the Stephens looked through the peephole, he saw that this examining Evans, he kept his pen between his lips and looking somewhere there and waiting for some inspiration. In reality, that action of Evans was a signal to that Invigilator, because this Invigilator was Evans' own man. He kept two overcoats, two collars, and a beard and blood, everything he had kept in his custody. He wanted to give this one by one to this examining. To make it happen smoothly, to avoid the Stephen's presence, he signaled the Invigilator by keeping the pen between his lips. Now, at 10:50 a.m., Evans complained of bitter chill and made a request for putting a blanket around his shoulders. At 10:50 a.m., Evans complained of that he was feeling parky, that is chill, and requested for a blanket around his shoulders. And the Invigilator permitted him. At 11:20 a.m., McLeary informed Evans that only 5 minutes remained. At 11:22 a.m., Jackson called Stephens to the phone. The governor was online. And here also, this call was made by not by the governor but by Evans' own men. Stephens was given orders to escort McLeary to the main prison gate. So, towards the end of the examination, Evans and his men wanted Stephens to get away from there for a few minutes. That is why they made a call to the D-wing, and at the D-wing he was stayed back there for a few minutes. When Stephens came back to the cell, the examination was over and McLeary packed everything and get ready to go out of the cell. At 11:25 a.m., the governor heard the final exchanges between McLeary and Evans. That was the end of the examination. The former announced the end of the examination. McLeary announced the end of the examination. He called out for Stephens. Once he packed everything, he couldn't see Stephens there, so he called out to Stephens. On Stephens' return, the person got ready to leave. Once Stephens came there, the person was ready to leave the place. He felt proud to get the charge of seeing of the Invigilator at the entrance gate. Here Stephens, a newly recruited officer, he was so proud to get the charge of seeing of the Invigilator up to the entrance gate. The door of the cell was locked on Evans after McLeary had left the cell. So immediately he locked the door on Evans once this Invigilator was out of there. Thus the examination went on smoothly as scheduled. Immediately Stephens escorted the Invigilator to the entrance gate without looking into the cell. Once he returned, he wanted to take a last look at the prison before going for his coffee. To his shock, he saw a bleeding someone sprawling on the chairs. At first he thought it would be Evans, but a close look made him believe that it was the parson with all his clerical collar, beard, and the black clerical front and all the rest of it. Once he sent off that invigilator and came back to the cell, and before going to the tea or coffee, he wanted to take a last look at the prisoner. But he shocked by seeing what happened there. He saw a man at Ivan's seat. He was sprawling and he was bleeding. At first look, he thought it was Ivan's. But when he opened the gut and entered there, and he realized that it was not Evans but McLeary, the invigilator. He thought it was Evans who impersonated McLeary and went away. So naturally, he thought that the man who had gone from the cell was Evans. He impersonated McLeary and went away. The awkwardness in Scott accent Stephens had noticed in the person confirmed him that it was Evans who had left from there earlier. So when he led this person out of the cell, he noticed the change in tone of the man, the Scottish accent, and a slight slimness that came over him. But he couldn't doubt it. But now he confirmed that the man who went away from the prison, went away from the cell, was Evans. So that is what happened till now. But the irony of the situation is that this is actually the real Evans. He impersonated McLeary and stayed back, but that could not be found out by the prison officers. So that is what happened with the examination cell. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any doubt and any comment, please give it in the comment box. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. Thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to thumbs up your